Chansen itute maktiar Wheatley Nisigasun Opasquak Uchanina. Tawa, welcome to APTN National News. We take you to British Columbia, where the 1BC political party were scheduled to hold a rally at the University of British Columbia. But we're faced with an angry mob who say denying residential school trauma is racism. APTN's Tina House was there and has this story.
Members of 1BC were scheduled to hold a rally outside of the Indian Residential School History and Dialogue Centre, but were met with an angry crowd instead. We managed to get through the crowd to ask Frances Whittleson, who's a member of 1BC, a few questions.
Frances, what brings you here to UBC today?
I'm here to restore UBC to an academic institution, which it is not right now. It is a propaganda outlet for indigenization activists.
So you're saying all those residential school survivors are lying?
No, I'm not. I don't think residential school survivors are lying. I think they're misremembering.
The crowd then surrounded Whittleson, and one woman holding her child seemingly used the fact that she was holding a child to protect Whittleson from the anti-protesters who are demanding that 1BC and their supporters leave. David Robinson was here with his mom to stand against racism.
Children should never be used as a tool to defend the hatred. You know, children are beautiful. That's why we're here today, actually, is to celebrate and to remember the children that never got that chance to be held and to be protected.
For Rosalind Hannah Miles, her dad went to residential school, and she says that the hate that the 1BC party is spreading is racist and needs to stop.
This is my father. He went by Buddy, and he went to St. George's and he was harmed, like all the other people there who did their best to try to survive. But a lot of our people did not survive. I've heard many stories where people were killed. Where I'm from, there are, sadly to say, burial sites.
We caught up with 1BC party leader Dallas Brody.
The situation is that if your parents do die, you can't bury them in your backyard. You're not allowed to do that in Canada.
And what do you say?
Our interview was then cut short because an angry mob surrounded her. Just moments ago, members of the 1BC party, including Dallas Brody and Frances Whittleson, were escorted off of campus. Except in Frances Whittleson's case, RCMP physically carried her out and put her into a police cruiser. UBC RCMP have confirmed she is in custody, but no other information was given about what she is charged with. As you can see behind me, over 1,000 people have gathered to say that denying residential school ever happened is racism and is not acceptable. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Tina. U.S. President Donald Trump backed down on Wednesday on his threat to use force to annex Greenland. He said a plan had been worked out for the U.S. to have permanent access to the territory, but details have been scarce. Other than that, talks will continue. The territory's prime minister spoke to reporters in Nuuk, Greenland, and APTN News video journalist Angel Moore was there.
At the Nuuk Cultural Centre, Greenland's Prime Minister Jan Fredrik Nielsen spoke about Trump's plans. He said there is a high-level working group to find a solution using respectful, democratic dialogue to protect the Arctic. And although he is not aware of the details, he said minerals were not discussed and that Greenland and Denmark's sovereignty is a red line that cannot be crossed.
First of all, nobody else than Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark have the mandate to make deals or agreements about Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark without us. That's not going to happen.
The Inuit located in northern Labrador have historical ties with Greenland. Earlier today, President Lamp of the Nunavut government said in an email statement, "The people of Greenland, many of whom are Inuit, have the right to choose their own destiny. The Nunavut government stands firmly in solidarity with our Inuit brothers and sisters in Greenland in defending their sovereignty and self-determinations." A reporter asked Nielsen if he could believe Trump would not use force to take the territory.
This is, as I said, this is about world order. This is about international law. This is about respecting territorial integrity. I believe that the world will not take that turn so drastically. I have to believe that, and I believe the Western Alliance, in a good partnership, can grow to be better.
Meanwhile, Greenlanders' lives go on as normal, and I will be speaking to local Inuit just about that. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Nuuk, Greenland.
Tapwagicha Angel. Protests continue in Minnesota since the fatal shooting of Renee Good 2 weeks ago by an immigration and custom enforcement agent. At the same time, ICE officers are continuing to detain residents in Minneapolis. As our reporter Savannah Craig shares, Native Americans are also getting stopped and detained by ICE agents.
For what? What's the charge? What's she arrested for? What the is the charge? Get out of the road. Get out of the road.
The man yelling in the video is trying to help his friend, a Native American woman being arrested by immigrations and customs enforcement agents, better known as ICE.
Where's your dog? Where's your dog at?
Last Wednesday, Sophie Wutso was arrested and detained by ICE in Minnesota.
My cousin had been taken by ICE. It's absurd that Indigenous people are being detained by ICE, which there's not one person who's more citizen than an Indigenous person on Turtle Island.
Xavier Wutso is an Abenaki actor and influencer based in Quebec. Their cousin Sophie is Abenaki and Dakota living in Minneapolis. After her arrest, Xavier took to social media to call for action.
Du centre de détention où est-ce qu'elle est. Mais l'affaire, c'est que ICE kidnappe n'importe qui, tellement de monde.
Xavier says Sophie was released a few days later.
Let him scan your face. Why'd you hit him? No!
Just a day before the killing of Renee Good by an ICE agent, 20-year-old Jose Roberto Beto Ramirez was arrested and detained by ICE in Minneapolis. He is a U.S. citizen and Ojibwe from Red Lake Nation. The detention of Native Americans goes beyond Minneapolis.
Everybody in here U.S. citizen?
We're first ones. We're Native American. We're the first ones.
This video posted online in June of last year shows ICE stopping Thonoi Thumb Native Americans in Arizona. Journalist Mark Trahan says Indigenous people are being racially profiled alongside other nationalities.
They do not have the right to ask you for identification. They keep trying, but legally, I mean, that goes back to the whole Nazi era of your papers, please. And you do not have to carry papers in the United States. You do if you're a green card holder.
According to the Migration Policy Institute, ICE detentions have almost doubled under the Trump administration. As of January 7, 2026, ICE's daily detention average has increased to 70,000 from 39,000 when Trump returned to office.
They are falling deeply back into history and into the moments in time where we were sought after, chased after, and murdered for the sake of westward expansion.
Sekawis Nobis is Plains Cree and Saulteaux from George Gordon First Nation. She now lives in the United States. Nobis says the Trump administration is trying to dismantle the revival of Indigenous sovereignty, culture, and tribal power.
It's really scary to think that they're setting up detention centers and that they're abducting Indigenous peoples already that have rightful places to be here.
Xavier says those stopped by ICE agents can use their phone as a tool.
I think everybody should be aware, be careful, make sure to document and film any interaction they see of ICE going around. I think it's time to put our money where our mouth is and to not go to the United States or try to boycott different United States products.
Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Montreal.
Ginanaskamitin, Savannah. We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, go to aptnnews.ca. You can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. And we take you north of 60, where a strike may be on the horizon at Yukon University, and to Nunavut, where news of a resignation is making news. That and more right after the break. Cheskwa. Come on in, Bitigwe. Disgraced musician Buffy Sainte-Marie has had another honor removed from her name. This comes 2 years after her identity came under scrutiny by the CBC. At the time, Sainte-Marie said in a public statement she, quote, never lied about her identity. Dalhousie University in Halifax revoked the honorary Doctor of Laws degree they bestowed on Sainte-Marie in 2018. They made the announcement in late December. According to Sainte-Marie's website, she holds honorary degrees from 14 other North American universities. CBC's Fifth Estate brought Sainte-Marie's Cree identity into question in 2023 after her U.S. birth certificate was revealed and family members claimed she was Italian. Since then, Sainte-Marie has returned 5 Juno Awards, 2 Polaris Music Prizes, and her Order of Canada. APTN News has reached out to Dalhousie University for comment. We have not heard back. The latest report by the Auditor General of Manitoba says the province's kidney dialysis services could be run a lot more efficiently, especially when it comes to helping Indigenous people. Tyson Stakayo says that right now, while there is an operational plan in place for overall health services, there is no actual plan for dialysis. He also says that the highest rate of end-stage kidney disease in Canada at a time when Indigenous people in Canada are almost 3 times more likely to develop the disease. Stakayo reports there could be a smarter use of resources. He has 6 recommendations for improved care, including the development of planning that aligns dialysis services with overall of healthcare, monitoring clinical and preventative services, and collecting data to help track clearly stated strategic goals.
As a life-sustaining service, the province does not know if it is achieving the best results for patients or providing the best value for taxpayers. We found 3 major issues. Responsibilities for dialysis are unclear, the funding model isn't tied to outcomes or cost analysis, and there is no operational plan for dialysis services. This results in uncertainty and inefficiencies.
More than 400 staff and faculty at Canada's only northern university may be going on strike as early as March 2nd. Yukon University includes 13 campuses across the territory and is the only university north of 60. Union members voted in favor of a strike mandate earlier this month. A collective agreement between union members and the university expired in June 2024. The Yukon Employees Union says the university's latest contract offering doesn't address concerns like fair wages and protections for precarious workers. The university said in a statement the parties remain in active bargaining. Former Yukon Premier Mike Pemberton resigned as the territory's Liberal Party leader on Wednesday. Pemberton took over as party leader last summer after former Premier Ranj Pillay announced he was stepping down from the role. He became premier without holding a seat in the Yukon Legislative Assembly. During last year's territorial election, the Liberals were pummeled by the conservative-leaning Yukon Party, winning just 1 of 21 seats. The party's executive committee has appointed the party's only sitting MLA, Vuntut Gwitchin MLA Deborah Reti, as its interim leader. Reti represents the riding of Vuntut Gwitchin in the fly-in community of Old Crow. Leadership review was on the agenda at the party's annual general meeting in Whitehorse on Thursday. Jeremy Toonraluk has resigned from his position as president of Nunavut Tungavik Incorporated, an organization that ensures that promises made under the Nunavut Agreement are carried out. Toonraluk has been on unpaid leave since December. He was charged with assault with a weapon causing bodily harm. That charge was later stayed by the Crown. NTI announced that its board accepted Toonraluk's resignation Wednesday evening, effective immediately. NTI also announced that its members voted to hold a by-election for president at the end of 2026. Toonraluk has announced that he will be seeking re-election. In the meantime, Vice President Paul Ingrout will continue to serve as president. We now want to tell you about this week's web poll questions. Our first question we asked, are you concerned about Trump's stance on Greenland? And you can answer very concerned, somewhat, you're concerned, you're not concerned at all, or you're unsure. Our second question was, how often do you fact-check claims made on social media? Your options are all the time, sometimes, rarely, or you never check. And our last question, do you get screened for cancer? Your options are yes or no. Go to our website, aptnnews.ca, to have your say. We'll post the results next week. And we take you to Australia to hear from our NITV colleagues. Also, we check in with Kim at Nouvelles Nationale. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Chesqua. Toa, welcome back. St. John's 0, Charlottetown -4. Nain -19, Inukjuak -25. Chibougamau -25, Quebec City -11. Over to North Bay -22, Sault Ste. Marie -23. Up north by Big Trout Lake -29, Sioux Lookout -31. Churchill also -31, Norway House -30. Winnipeg -29, Brandon -31. North Battleford -36, Estevan -31. Up to Uranium City -41, Buffalo Narrows -32. Moving west, Fort Chipewyan -25, Peace River -13. Edmonton is -14, Calgary -8. Over to Bella Coola, 1 degree, and Campbell River +6. Up to Dease Lake -12, Smithers -4. Over to the north, Old Crow -14, Mayo -19. Norman Wells -4, Port Simpson -15. Tuktoyaktuk -1, Colville Lake -4. Cambridge Bay is -18, while Chesterfield is also -18. Resolute -29, and Iqaluit -13. One of Australia's oldest and most remote community radio stations is celebrating 40 years on air. The station broadcasts across the Torres Strait and internationally. Now the station's unique sounds and voices are being preserved by the National Film and Sound Archive, including its very first broadcast. Here's Thursday Island with the details.
Debbie Dim, Kapamigi Batanga, good morning. Welcome to Radio 4MW.
The voice of the Torres Strait, Zenathkes reaching from Cape York to over the border into Papua New Guinea. I'm one of those voices. My name is Sylvia Tabua.
We've got a favourite coming up from our very famous mill sisters, Frangipani Land.
Based on Wyburn, Thursday Island. SIMA is the only media organisation in the region to cover the local news. In Torres Strait languages, Kalalagauya and Miriam Mer, a bit of Creole or Yumpla talk and English, and plans to add the Kawareg Aboriginal languages.
We're celebrating 40 years of broadcasting and 40 years of SIMA being the voice of the Torres Strait.
And this was the first broadcast.
We're having some of the audio returned to us, which is very exciting. We're re-listening to that and we're excited about resharing it and replaying all of those old yarns and songs and conversations.
Thousands of hours, decades of historic recordings have been digitised by the National Film and Sound Archive.
It was really important to make sure that we have covered the arc of our First Nations voices in this country, and many of our broadcasters have now been actively telling our own stories now for at least 40 years, and SIMA is, so wonderful to be in partnership with SIMA, who celebrate 40 years this year.
Unique storytelling and oral history.
SIMA is significant because it gives a platform for our community to express themselves, have conversations, raise awareness. It's a communication tool. It's about delivering the message to our people in our language, our way, every day.
And story, new or old, that will continue to be told.
Sylvia Tabua, one of the voices of the Torres Strait, reporting from Waibeni, Thursday Island for NITV.
Tapwegiche Thursday. The Brisbane International Film Festival, or BIFF, has returned, celebrating the very best in local and international cinema, with First Nations films taking center stage. This year's Indigenous Spotlight brought together a diverse selection of films from across Australia and the Pacific, giving audiences the opportunity to hear directly from the creators. Here's Dan Rennie with NITV News.
From supernatural horror to intimate documentaries, BIFF celebrates the diversity of Indigenous films.
The whole modus operandi was trying to platform Indigenous films from around the world that were really different. Animated films, horror films, comedy films, road trip films, crime noir, giving audiences a really wide breadth of First Nations stories.
This is to honour the importance of women.
Among the films on show is Korka, from Māori filmmaker Kath Akawata Brown. A journey that weaves together Māori storytelling and intergenerational healing.
I recognise an affinity between us in terms of our colonial experience, but also more recently our desire to deconstruct that and shred it and tear it away.
The latest offering from Bundjalung director Jack Manning-Bancroft is an animated film blending Indigenous knowledge with cutting-edge technology.
We had over 400 people write on it during the pandemic 7 years ago on a Google Doc. It's got Indigenous knowledges from across the country and from around the world, and our job's just been to help curate it and bring together a story that's been written by us for us.
A range of genres and styles united by common threads.
The challenges we face as Indigenous people are being removed from land, being removed from our identity, being removed from country has happened all around the planet.
For many creators, festivals like BIFF are about more than just exposure. They're about connection, community, and carving out a space for First Nations voices. With filmmakers from Australia, New Zealand, and North America here on site, the festival is reinforcing its role as a platform for Indigenous storytelling across the region. Powerful and proud stories that connect us all. Dan Rennie, NITV News.
Ginanaskamitin Rennie. And a new episode of Nouvelles Nationales with host Kim Sullivan is tonight. And this week we find Kim up in northern Quebec. Hey, Kim.
Hey there, this week's a TAT special. As we get out of studio, we come to you live from the Cree community of Waskaganish. Hello.
Hi, hello.
We are on the southern coast of the James Bay. We're here for the ribbon cutting of their new community center. It's very welcoming. Happy to have APTN here, so we'll definitely be showcasing that on the show tonight. It's a special in-community episode, and we hope that you tune in at 6:30 Eastern.
Looking forward to that, Kim. And that's all the time we have for this afternoon. It's Friday. I'm TR Wheatley. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Join Dennis Ward tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Until then, from all of us to all of you, Egase, Gitam, Ginanasko Mitinawa.